Hello everyone. Very important topic of anthropological thought I am going to discuss today, which is called as structuralism. Seniors, rankers, everyone believe that structuralism is very complex topic in anthropological thought. Understanding structuralism itself is an Herculean task. Hence, I took this topic for your understanding. I want to make structuralism simplified. Hence, I am going to take a session on structuralism. I hope it will simplify your concept on structuralism. Three schools are very, very important in anthropological thought: functionalism, structural functionalism, and structuralism. Functionalism is given by Malnovisky, structural functionalism is given by R.C. Brown, and structuralism is given by Levi-Strauss. So what is the structuralism I am going to discuss now? So initially, before going into detail of structuralism, means what Levi-Strauss want to explain about structuralism, what Edmund Leach want to explain about the structuralism, I want to give a basic understanding what is structuralism. Structuralism is a study of a text, like a textbook. When we are reading a textbook, when we want to understand what is the crux of the book, we need to understand the meanings, concepts, summaries of each and every unit. So structuralism is also something like that, which we need to study in broad context. Each element which is present in structure cannot be understood in isolated way. When we want to understand the structure, we need to understand each element which is present in the structure, and we need to understand the interrelationship between all of them. So structuralism is nothing but understanding about the structures in context of all other elements which are present in the structures. So all the structures interconnectivity is called as structuralism. So structuralism is a study of text as a whole and the kinds of interrelationship contrasts that the system builds in to make it meaningful. So the total text which is having interrelationships, differences, contrasts. So these all interrelationships and contrasts within the text, how we will try to understand. Similarly, in understanding the structures, what is social structure, sir? Society. So in the society also, when we want to understand the society, we need to understand religion in context with language, language in context with myth, myth in context with folklore. So all these elements need to be understood in an interrelated way. Then we will understand the concept of structuralism. So structuralism is very, very important. So structuralism cannot be understood individually in isolated way. If we want to understand the structures, if we want to understand the structure of the society, then we need to understand in an interrelated way, in an integrated way. That is what, when we are understanding about structuralism, we need to understand in an integrated way. Second point which I want to tell, that in structuralism assumes that for every process and action there is a system of underlying laws that govern, which means that in every structure, if my behavior is like this, or if my action is like this, if my process of doing is like this, so for every action in the structures in the society is because of underlying principle. It is because of underlying principles. For every action a man is doing, for every behavior a man is performing, for every process which is happening in the society, it is because of an underlying law. For example, in a society, siblings need to be stay together. But the two siblings are every time they are in conflict, every time they are in a fighting mood. So that means what? There might be some underlying law between both of them. Because of that underlying law, both are at conflict. So what is that underlying law? From childhood onwards, bachpan se, from childhood onwards, something conflict is arising between both of them. As they grown up with them, the conflict also evolved and became like a very big. So for every action, for example, if my mother is there, how my behavior should be towards my mother, there will be underlying law I have to respect. If my teacher is there, how my behavior should be with respect to my teacher, there will be underlying law. So for everything in the social structure, see, social structure is nothing but the society is called a general term, social structure is called as technical term. When I am using the social structure, means I am talking about the society. So in society, for every action, for every process, there will be an underlying law. According to that underlying law, according to that underlying principle, the behavior will be there, the action will be there. For example, in Indian society, we need to respect the elders. In Western society, there won't be that much respect with respect to elders there. So why we are respecting the elders? Why? Because we have an underlying principles. We need to bother about the elders. That is not the case with Western societies. So our behavior is because of our underlying law. Their behavior is because of their underlying law. So that is structuralism. So every structure, how it is going to perform, every structure, how it is going to undergo the process, that we will be studying in this particular structuralism. So who gave this concept of structuralism? The structuralism concept is given by Claude Lévi-Strauss, a French anthropologist. And the beginning of the structuralism is given by Ferdinand de Saussure, who is a structural linguistic. And the Claude Lévi-Strauss, with the help of Emile Durkheim, by motivating, by inspiration taken from the Emile Durkheim, he gave the concept called as structuralism. So structuralism started by Ferdinand de Saussure, and with the inspiration from Emile Durkheim, the Claude Lévi-Strauss gave the concept called as structuralism. That we will be discussing in next session. So the next is the budding of structuralism. So structuralism first comes to prominence. How the structuralism first came to prominence? How structuralism first came into prominence? The structuralism first came into prominence as a specific discourse, means a study with structural linguistics. How the language is associated, how the structures are behaved. So the budding stage of structuralism is started from this linguistics, language. Structural linguistics. So this Swiss linguist called as Ferdinand de Saussure is a person who gave the impetus for the evolution of the field called as structuralism. A branch of linguistic, social structuralist linguistics. So this is the beginning. In this way the structuralism has been evolved. The first popular structuralist, the first very, very popular structuralist is Emile Durkheim, a sociologist. Lévi-Strauss, who is considered as the founder of structuralism. Claude Lévi-Strauss, who is considered as the father of structuralism. He liked the social structure concepts which are given by Emile Durkheim. The first popular structuralist is Emile Durkheim. The second popular French social anthropologist is Claude Lévi-Strauss. So, Emile Durkheim himself being a sociologist, he also gave some concepts on social structure. As he gave the concepts on social structure, the Lévi-Strauss was being attracted towards the social structure concepts which are given by the Emile Durkheim. So Emile Durkheim was being considered traditionally as the first structuralist, but the founder of the structuralism school is Lévi-Strauss. The structuralist is Emile Durkheim, and the founder of the structuralism school is Lévi-Strauss. Emerging in the late 50s in France, and reaching its heydays in the mid 60s, structuralism is a school of scientific enthusiasm. So in 50s it evolved, and by this 1965 the structuralism became very, very popular chronologically. So what we are understanding means the structuralism as a school, the initiation was being given by Ferdinand de Saussure under the name called as structural linguistic, and the Claude Lévi-Strauss attracted towards the sociologist Emile Durkheim, and he gave the name for Emile Durkheim as the first structuralist, and he himself as the second structuralist. But the founder of the school of structuralism is Claude Lévi-Strauss. And in 1960s, the 1950s, the beginning of structuralism happened, and by 1960s, in mid, the structuralism became very, very popular. Structuralism is an intellectual movement who began in France in the 50s and is seen in the works of the anthropologists Durkheim, Claude Lévi-Strauss and Edmund Leach. Three anthropologists, social anthropologists, made the subdiscipline of structuralism very popular. Durkheim, Claude Lévi-Strauss and Emile Durkheim. Emile Durkheim, Claude Lévi-Strauss and Edmund Leach. Whereas Emile Durkheim and Claude Lévi-Strauss are French social anthropologists, whereas Edmund Leach is British anthropologist. Structuralists believe that things cannot be understood in isolation, very important. Structuralist. This structuralist believes that we cannot understand the things in isolation. They have to be seen in the context of larger structures. They are part of elements of culture, must be understood in terms of their relationship to a larger system or structure. Simple. So what I want to tell you here is, when we are studying about the structures, what is present in the structure, individually we should not study the structures. For example, this is the Empire State Building of New York. When I am studying about this building, I should not study this window, I should not study this room, I should not study this room, I should not study what is this flag. When we are studying about structuralism, this all together we have to study, this all together we have to understand. This all together we have to understand, and we have to come to a conclusion that, this window is interrelated with this window. This flag is interrelated with this flag. This window, this door, this entrance, everything is a part of the structure. Each and everything is a part of the structure that we will be studying in structuralism. The same thing I have been mentioned here. Any subpart of the structure cannot be studied in isolation. Every subpart in the structures should be studied in a correlationship, in an interrelationship, in a correlationship and an interrelationship. There should not be any isolation studies of structures. For example, when I am studying about religion, when I am studying about language, when I am studying about myth, when I am studying about folklore in the structures, I should not study religion as a religion. No, I should study religion as a part of culture, as a part of society, which is associated with myth, which is associated with ritual, which is associated with folklore. So interrelationship, when we study, then we will understand appropriateness of structures. Then we will understand the appropriateness of structure. Number one. Number two. So two things we understood. Number one is, every individual structure within the social structure should not be studied in isolation. Number two, each and every structure within the social structure should be studied in interrelationship. When you study in isolation, then 100% that interrelationship with other structure within the superstructure, interrelationship with other structure within the superstructure, we cannot understand. That means, if I study only this structure, I might understand about this structure, but interrelationship I will not understand. So for the sake of interrelationship connectivity, I need to have a study which is not in isolation but in interrelationship. So the structuralists want to tell that all structures in the societies should be studied interrelatedly. Like religion should be combined with myth, myth is combined with folklore, folklore will be combined to language. In that way, the structure should be interrelated in the complete social structure. So that is what the structuralism is. So structuralists, what they want to tell? So structuralists, they want to tell that for every action in the structure, it is because of the underlying law. And in structuralism, we need to study about the complete. In structuralism, we need to understand about the complete structures. It's like a complete text. We need to understand the complete text. In the text, how there is interrelationships, how there is contrast. We need to understand the interrelationship among the substructures of the structure and contrast of the substructures of the structure. Then we will understand the structure, the complete social structure. So that is how it evolved by three anthropologists, Emile Durkheim, Lévi-Strauss and Edmund Leach. So first I am coming with Claude Lévi-Strauss, a French anthropologist. Claude Lévi-Strauss, French anthropologist. So what he want to tell? Claude Lévi-Strauss, French anthropologist, what he want to tell? Claude Lévi-Strauss, 1908 to 2009, very recently he was been alive. More than 100 years, very lucky. Was the preeminent French anthropologist of the 20th century and a founder of the theory of structuralism. He is considered as the founder, he is considered as the beginner, he is considered as the initiator of the structuralism. Whereas impetus was been given by the Ferdinand de Saussure, and Emile Durkheim ideas were being taken by Lévi-Strauss, and Lévi-Strauss applied onto the subject called as structuralism. His prominence reached far beyond France and beyond anthropology. Lévi-Strauss studied tribal communities of Brazil also. He also studied the tribal communities of Brazil. This is the introduction of Claude Lévi-Strauss, a French anthropologist who is far above the anthropology discipline, far above the French. He is considered the founder of the structuralism. He also did tribal studies on Brazil, tribal communities. Claude Lévi-Strauss, considered as the founder of structuralism, expanded upon the Durkheim's basic concepts to generate the main ideas behind structuralism. Durkheim in his definition mentioned there are three fundamental properties of the human. So when he was been adopting the ideas, when he was been reading the Emile Durkheim theories on structures, he was been very much interested towards the Emile Durkheim. That's why Claude Lévi-Strauss is also called as belongs to Durkheim school. So Durkheim gave three important things with respect to structures. Means in a structure, three important facts, three important characteristics he gave in his definition of structures. Those three important characteristics in the structures are: number one, people follow rules. Yes, in any structure means any society where the people are living, people will follow some rules. Either it may be cultural rules or societal rules. People will follow some rules. He believes that, Emile Durkheim believes that the society is intact. The society is together. The structure is together because the people are very rigid with respect to rules. They are worried about the rules. They are feared about the rules. Hence, people follow the rules. There is peace and tranquility in the society. So, the rules make the people to be alert. Rules make the people to be intact. Number one. Number two, reciprocity. Give and take. Reciprocity is the simplest way to create social relationship. Yes, give and take. For example, if I give one gift at your birthday function, then you will be having some sort of respect. You will be having some sort of obligation. Yaar, iska when he will be getting the birthday, I should also give him gift. He gave me gift. I liked the way which he presented me. I also want to give him present so that our relationship should go on. So in every society, give and take system is there. In every society, give and take system is there. Yes, 100%. For that, the Emile Durkheim gave an example in his book. Emile Durkheim told that the father feeds the son. The father feeds the son believing that the son will take care of the father when he is old. So there is a give and take, there is a reciprocity is there between the father and the son, because of which the social structure of the family is running. Because of which the social structure of family is running. Similarly between the wife and husband, similarly between the brothers and sisters, everywhere if there is a reciprocity, give and take, 100% there will be, the relationship will be moving on, the societal existence will be moving on. Yes, number two. So number one is people follow rules, hence society is intact. Number two, there is a reciprocity. Reciprocity means give and take. Number three, a gift binds both the giver and recipient. A continuing social recipient in a continuing social relationship. Yes, a gift giver and a gift recipient. Like reciprocity, where how there is a give and take. Similarly, like a gift giving. In societies also there will be two societies, give and take relationships will be there. We discussed in Malnovisky, Kularing, 18 tribal communities were being present in the Kularing, whereby at the time of Kula season, one tribal community will be giving gifting to the other community will be giving gift to the other community, because of which the relationship of gift exchange, ceremonial exchange is present since centuries together. Why? Because of gift giving and gift taking. So there will be a reciprocal obligation will be there. So he told that every structure will be existing because of these three things. People follow rules, there will be reciprocity, there will be gift giver and gift recipient. We only people sometimes, यार ये तो कभी भी गिफ्ट लेता है, एक गिफ्ट भी नहीं देता है, उसको हम अवॉइड कर देंगे. If not, we are giving party. Five students are there when we are in college. You are in college. 5 students. आज तुम्हारा पार्टी, कल तुम्हारा पार्टी. तो एक आदमी एक पर्सन बोलता है, one of our friend, I forgot my wallet. Today I didn't bought my wallet. Today I didn't bought my card. Every time he is repeating the same. Then after 3 times what you will do? Arey yaar usko, we will not allow him now. So but if he is also part of the party distribution, then he will be also part of the social structure. So social structures are intact because of these 3 things, these 3 characteristics according to Emil Durkheim. So this sort of things, this sort of analysis attracted Levi-Strauss towards structuralism. Levi-Strauss structural approach is based on Durkheim's social structure model. Durkheim's social structure model, Emil Durkheim's, and partly based on Saphir's and partly on Trubetskoy's linguistic approach. They believed that linguistic is based on 4 operations these are. So his concept totally depended upon the triggering was being given, just a triggering was being given by Ferdinand de Saussure, and he was a follower of Emil Durkheim. Apart from it, Saphir's hypothesis and Trubetskoy's hypothesis made him to also give some language and structure relationship. The relationship between the language and structure by the combination of these people. So what are that? Number 1, the study of unconscious linguistic structure. The study of unconscious linguistic structure. What is this study of unconscious linguistic structure means? I am sleeping. Most of you, when you are sleeping on the blanket, you opened your mobile phone. You are dark inside the blanket. Suddenly into your room, you heard the mother voice in your local language. So mother sound you heard. Suddenly there will be in your unconscious mind a response will come out. A response will come out. Suddenly you are doing something and you heard some voice which is very known and who is from your very close kin group. Very close kin group means very close relative group. Then your response will change. The sudden response will change. So unconscious linguistic structure which is present in our unconscious minds. Mother means it is present in our unconscious mind, how we have to behave. Father, how we have to behave. Son, sister, spouse, whoever it may, it is present in our unconscious structure. No need, just the response will come out. Number 1. So in every structure the language is also having an important structure, important factor. Number 2, the treatment of terms not as isolate but as set of relations. Yes, each and every structure, the structuralism believes that not each term, each linguistic term or each linguistic isolation, each linguistic term or each individual relationship should not be understood in isolation. It should be associated with interrelationship, it should be associated with contrast. Either there should be some negative consequence or either there should be some positive consequence. Some sort of relationship should be there in the social structure. There should be interrelationship or there should be contrast. Yes. Mother means when the value of mother is when there is son. When there is a relationship between the mother and son or mother and daughter, the value of the term I am talking about, the linguistic term, the value of husband is high or the value of husband term is having when there is wife. If he doesn't have the wife, then why there is a term or relationship called as husband? So interrelationship, the linguistic terms also have the interrelationship. The study of structures of a system. So we have to study the structures of the system. The study of structure of a system, how the structures are arranged in the complete system. When I am talking about Hindu social system, for example, if I am talking about the Hindu social system, who is Brahmin, who is Shudra, who is Kshatriya, who is Vaishya. So this arrangement of structures I need to know, then I will understand the system. Oh, the system is like that. So when I want to understand the social system, I need to understand the structures. Discovering the general laws. For every structure in the system, there will be general laws. The Brahmin is the upper caste, the Shudra is the lower caste. In earlier times, in the Vedas times, In the later Vedas time, Shudra is downtrodden, whereas Brahman is higher caste. Till 2000, today also, obviously. But somewhat betterment happened when compared to 20th century and 19th century. Today also discrimination is there. Today also there is a social stigma is there. The Shudra means lower and the Brahmins mean higher. So general laws, these are general laws. Oh, Brahmins higher caste, Shudras lower caste, Musalman, Hindu, Christian. So these general laws also we have to understand the structures. So in this way, these four things will give us a clear idea about the structures in the system. Levi-Strauss considered that social structure is distinct from empirical reality. Social relation consists of raw materials out of which models making up the social structures are built. Very simple. It will not be in empirical. For example, wife and husband should be like this scientifically. Brothers should be like this scientifically. Brothers should not fight. Wife and husband should not fight. Children should respect the parents. Students should respect the teacher. That is empirically like that the relation should be there. Whether in reality the social structure is same, whether the wife and husband are like wife and husband, like brothers are like brothers, teacher and students are like teacher and student, and the parents and the children are like parents and children, whether that empirical scientific relationship is maintained? No. The social structure is different. The reality is different, that he want to tell. So Levi-Strauss considers that social structure is distinct, is different from empirical reality. Social relations consists of raw materials out of which models making up the social structures will come. So these people are raw materials. So these raw materials, when they behave as per how they have to behave, it is scientificity. Empirical, oh yes, like this they have to do, like this they are. Like H2 plus O, water plus hydrogen, oxygen plus hydrogen is equal to water. So these raw materials are there. If they are behaving like this, then there is scientificity. But in reality, these are raw material, but they are not behaving according to their standards. Obviously there will be deviations, obviously there will be differences. As there is deviations, we are calling it as a social structure realities, not social structure empirical. So what Levi-Strauss want to tell, that the social empirical reality will be different. The social structure being a empirical is wrong. The social structure will be according to the linguistics, according to the reality. How they have to behave, they will be behaving. You cannot fix the behaviors. Levi-Strauss in his book Structural Anthropology 1958, the famous book Structural Anthropology 1958, in his book he explained structuralism. So in which book he explained structuralism means Structural Anthropology 1958 book. Explained structuralism is a method for studying human society. So how the human society, my society, your society, how these human societies are there, how these human societies are arranged, how these human societies are there, how these human societies are arranged, whether they are empirical social structure, no, they are not empirical social reality, they are not empirical social structures, there is deviation. That is the reality. So that human cultures were being studied by Levi-Strauss. That human societies are studied by Levi-Strauss. In which book he gave this concept? In Structural Anthropology 1958 book, Levi-Strauss gave this concept. Studying human society, it is not a theory and not a philosophy tradition. It is a simple method to analyze human society. So here Levi-Strauss want to tell that I am not going to give any philosophy or I am not going to give any science. I am just going to analyze how in reality the social human societies will be there. How these human societies will be arranged, that I am going to explain in this structuralism. He did not criticize classical evolutionists, he did not criticize diffusionists, he did not criticize the functionalists and structural functionalists. He told that yes, classical evolution is also correct in some context, diffusion is also correct in some context, functional is also correct in some context. He didn't criticize anybody. For example, he himself, in classical evolutionism, there is a concept called as psychic unity. You know, he also believes in the people thought process will be same. He also believes the same. Levi-Strauss also believes that the man thought process will be same everywhere. But he will be acting according to his underlying principles, according to his underlying law. How he have to behave, one law will be there, no? For example, in our society, what will happen? Live-in relationships are wrong. In Western society, live-in relationships are correct. So, in Western society, there is an underlying law. In front of parents also, I will be taking, that means the person will be taking the girlfriend to his home or boyfriend to the home. It's underlying principle there. In India, whether it is an underlying principle, no. So, the behavior is like that there, the behavior is like that here. That he want to tell. So man thought process will be same. His ideology, in order to satisfy his needs, his thought process will be same, but his actions depends upon that underlying law. How he have to behave, how he have to behave, how he have to behave. He have to behave according to the rules. He have to behave according to the rules. He did not criticize classical evolutionists, diffusionists and functionalists. Each one is having their own different place in anthropology. He also told that each one is having its own different place. In their context, classical evolutionists are correct. Psychic unity of mankind. In order to satisfy the needs, everywhere his thought process is same. Hence psychic unity of mankind. Diffusionist. Yes, in spite of inventing, it is easy to borrow. Diffusionist. Functionalist. First, how it is useful to me, that is important, rather than whether it is useful or not. Yes, usefulness is important for every culture, right? Yes, in every context it is important. Levi-Strauss did not criticize anybody. So, principles of structuralism, what are that? Objective of structuralism is to search for deep, innate, natural and orderly principles underlying in any system. To understand the principles, there is a need to explore human mind. As I told earlier, now I am arranging in the principles of structuralism. So what he is telling, number one, what is the underlying law which is present in my mind? My behavior will be according to that. For example, everyone will be happy with their brothers. Two siblings are there, two brothers are there, younger brother, elder brother, both are everywhere, both are together. But one family is there, whereby two brothers are fighting like anything. But according to social structure, what is that? They should not fight. Empirically, they should not fight. Empirically, they have to stay together. But these two people are fighting. So when I understand their human mind, I will get their reasoning. That why they are fighting. Then they will give, when I ask them, they will tell that from childhood onwards he was my competitor. From childhood onwards he was been fighting with me. So because of that, after growing up also we are not together. So that underlying law which is present in the human mind will determine the structure of that family. That family structure is like that because of the underlying law which is present in the minds of the people. So if you want to understand the structures, if you want to understand the behaviors of the people, understand what is there in their minds. Levi-Strauss agrees with R.C. Brown that structure in ordered arrangement of parts or components. Yes, R.C. Brown, different parts, different elements, when they are arranged, it is called a social structure. Same, different parts. When I arranged, then this is called as its structure. So he also believes in R.C. Brown. Any structure is arrangement of parts, arrangement of elements. This arrangement of parts, arrangement of elements is called as structure. Arrangement of parents, arrangement of children, within children, siblings, this all together is called as family. If I talk about the Hindu social system, then caste groups, then within the caste group relations, the dominant caste, the village system, the urban system, these all things is called as Hindu social system. Indian system when I talk about. So this arrangement of parts together is called a social structure. And one more point, every part should not be studied in isolation. Every part should be studied in interrelationship with other part. Then we will understand the total structure. He explains that unconscious structure of human mind is invariant. What is invariant? Constant. The unconscious, he explained that unconscious structure of human mind is invariant. The unconscious mind will be thinking in the same way, what is underlined in his mind. What is imprinted in my mind, like that only my behavior will be there. For example, if I am a Muslim, if I had a bad impact with Hindus, example I am telling, or the best example, when I am a Kshatriya, when I had a bad impact with a Brahmin, when I had a bad impact with Vaishyas, so it will be in my mind, these people are like this, these people are like this, or this are like this. So that also we need to understand. So in order to understand the principles of structuralism is that underlying principle or what is present in the unconscious mind is constant. And that thing, how it is entering into the mind, you can ask me one question, sir, this you are telling underlying law, that underlying. So he explained that unconscious structure of human mind is invariant. That underlying law which is present will be constant, and how it is coming into my mind is by experience. Someone told me from bachpan, from my childhood, this is bad person, bad person, bad person, bad person. So what it will be happening in my mind, it will be fixed that yes, this person is a bad person. Underlying principle is constant. For structuralists, myth is a product of mind in the same way as rule of marriage, cooking, dressing, etc. are the products of human mind. We have to understand how mind has been structured, so we have to study its products. Yes. See, when this dress I am wearing, it is present in the mind that all the people should wear this dress only. But suddenly I observed a tribal people wearing a different form of dress. Then what I will feel, what these people are wearing? Why? Because it is not there in my structure. This sort of dress is not there in my structure. So it's suddenly a shock to me. But for my society I should not wear such sort of dress. Why? Because some myths will be there. Some myths will be there. A Dubai Sheikh will be wearing gown, complete gown. I am from a Christian community. I am from a Sikh community. I am from a Hindu community. Whether I can wear that gown? No. I will have some myths. You should not wear such sort of dress. Those are only for those community people. My cooking should be like this. I am a Brahmin. I should not eat non-veg. If I eat non-veg, this sort of myths are there. Myths means what? Beliefs. So, for every behavior which is there in the structures, there will be some myths associated, which will be present in the mind. The same thing. For structuralist, myth is a product of mind. Suddenly, a cat crossed me. Suddenly I will respond. Suddenly I will respond. Why? Because it is imprinted in my mind like a myth. If I go for any work, in spite of crossing the cat, if I go in front, if I move forward, then something will happen. If suddenly something happened, means I believe that it's because of the cat only. So that is present in the mind, human mind. Myth is a product of mind in the same way as rule of marriage. Whether you can marry, incest people. Incest in anthropology means marrying a mother, marrying a father, marrying a sister is called as incest. Whether incest is allowed? No. So the rules of marriage is also imprinted. I will not have any approach towards them like that. Why? Because it is printed in the mind. It should not happen. So everything, what you want to tell means everything is the product of mind. The structures are present in the mind in the form of underlying laws. According to the underlying laws only my behavior will be there. Rules of marriages. If parallel cousin marriages are not there, I am going for cross cousin marriages. Suddenly in my relative, one person married cross cousin marriages, then what I will feel? Arey yaar, tum kya kar rahe ho? She will become your sister and you are marrying her. Why? Because the rules of marriages are fixed in the minds of the people by experience, by culture. Cooking, this type of cooking, this type of dressing are the products of human mind. We have to understand how mind has been structured, so we have to study its products. How mind has been structured, so we have to study its product. What is the product? Myth is a product. Myth is a product of mind. Mind will tell, don't do this. If you do this, like this will happen. So according to that, my behavior will be there. That is proper structure. So when you want to understand the structure, study the mind. When you want to understand the structure, study the mind. Levi-Strauss views on language and culture. Levi-Strauss views on language and culture. Language and culture are homologous. Language and culture both are same. When you want to understand their culture, when you know the language, then only you can understand the culture. When you don't know the language, then you cannot understand the culture. So, culture and language both are interrelated. Language and culture are analogous and similar, both are interrelated. If I go into one tribal society to study their culture, without their language, if I from outside, if I look whether I can understand their culture, no. So culture is present in the language. If I want to tell my culture properly, how much I know English, but better way, in the best way I can explain only in my mother tongue. Why? Because the language and culture are intertwined. The language and culture are both analogous, similar, according to Levi-Strauss. Yes. Language and culture correlates with each other. Language and culture correlates with each other. Language and culture correlates with each other. We can interpret society as a whole in terms of theory of communication at three levels. At three levels. Each and every concept which is explained by Levi-Strauss, I am explaining here. Not a single topic you will miss in your examination. All the contributions we will be discussing. So communication, three theories they told. Number one, kinship and marriage rules serve to ensure the circulation of women between group. So what he want to think, what he want to tell, Levi-Strauss want to tell that if our kinship want to develop more, or if you want to establish good relationship with other society people, new society people, with new family group people, then best day what you do, the best thing what you do is you exchange your woman. You get their woman. Obviously the strong relationship will exist. If you want to maintain communication, exchange the woman in the form of marriage. So new kinship will be established. New kinship relations will be established. Yes. They cannot deny it. When my daughter or when my girl is in other society, then I will care about the other society. I will care about other family. Why? Because if other family is happy, then my daughter will be happy. Or my girl who went there will be happy. My woman who went into other society will be happy in that way. So, for the sake of extension of kinship, for the sake of extension of the society, the best way is exchange of women according to Levi-Strauss. Number two, economic rules serve to ensure the circulation of goods and services. Yes, economic rules. In Kularing, economic rules is nothing but social relationships. I will not expect anything from you. I will give. If you have, you give me. Kung Bushman, a tribal community of Kalahari Desert. He will get hunt, but he will not eat. He will go to the community and he will distribute among the community. That is his economic rules. In our society, how the goods and services will be exchanged? With monetary benefit. So the goods and service exchange depends upon the economic rules. For every society, there will be economic rules. For tribal society, this is the economic rules. For complex society, this will be the economic rules. Yes. The linguistic rules ensure the circulation of messages. When I know your linguistic rules, means when I know your language grammar, then I can understand your message. When you know my linguistic rules, when you know about my language, then you can understand my message. So three things were being mentioned. One is kinship and marriage rules, economic rules and linguistic rules. This is used for establishing the stronger kinship relations. This is for goods and service exchanges, and this is for messages. Linguistic rules, economic rules and marriage rules, according to Levi-Strauss. Levi-Strauss on incest taboo. What is his view on incest taboo? What is his view on incest taboo? What is the view of Levi-Strauss? Levi-Strauss on incest, what he want to tell? Levi-Strauss on incest, what do you want to tell? I will tell you what is incest. Incest means the sexual desire within the family is called as incest, where the son will be having a sexual desire towards the mother, and the daughter will be having a sexual desire towards the father, and the siblings will be having sexual desire towards each other. Within the nuclear family, if there is a sexual desire among themselves, that is called as incest. Taboo, not incest, it is incest taboo. So that type of social desires are avoided in any society according to Levi-Strauss. No attraction from the son towards the mother, no attraction from the daughter towards the father, no attraction from the sibling towards the other sibling. So in almost all 100% of the societies in the world, incest is a taboo. Taboo means social control, social avoidance. Incest taboo is itself a structure. In the part of the superstructure, in the part of the system where the substructures are there, in that the incest taboo itself is structure. If a marriage is happening, whether anyone think that within the family the marriage will happen in any of the society? No. Why? Because it is a structure. अरे यार क्या बात कर रहे हो? वो तो structure है. We should think out of the box. We have to think out of the structure. That's why we are going for exchange of women from outside. So incest taboo itself is structure where it should not happen. It's itself a rule, underlying rule which is present. The thought of having incest itself a taboo. Taboo means social control. Incest taboo itself a structure because it possesses social functions. What is the social function? The family is happy today. Why? Because father and son are not with enmity. If the son believes that with the mother the father is staying, whether the father and son will be in conflict or not? Yes. So in order to avoid the conflict, there is a social function. What is a social function? Incest taboo. So there is no thought process like that. Hence there is no thought process. The social function of happy family is existing. Freud gave the concept of incest taboo. It limits exchange of women and thus institutes marriage rules. So what? So incest taboo is not there. We should not exchange, we should not give our girl within the family. So we need to give our family outside the families. So what? We had some rules, marriage rules, like cross cousin marriages, parallel cousin marriages, etc., etc., etc. So in order to avoid this incest, there are marriage rules. Kinship system is built by the mind on the level of subconscious thought. So again, when I can establish my kinship relations, what is present in my subconscious mind? What is present in my subconscious mind? For example, mine is patriarchal system. So I will be associated with my father, my grandfather in my male line. In the total male line, I will be associated. Why? Because this is patrilineal society and patriarchal society. Patrilineal society means male line. Patriarchal society means authority is under the hands of male. So mine is patrilineal society, male line. So obviously my subconscious mind will tell that my relatives are also from my father's side. I will not maintain any relationship from my mother's side. Why? Because my society is telling that my line is patrilineal society. Same thing. So with whom I am going to maintain my kinships is, it is present in my subconscious mind. What is printed in my subconscious mind from my childhood? You are patrilineal, you are patrilinear, you are patrilineal. So obviously I will have that, yes, my relatives are from father's side, not my mother's side. So who is my kinship? My father's side. Why? Because it is present in my subconscious mind. Why only after the marriage the girl should come and stay in husband's house? Why? Because it is present in the subconscious mind. We will laugh sometimes. What? Your father went and staying with your mother in her home? Means what? Our subconscious mind is imprinted that mother should come and stay in the father home, then we will be happy. Why? Because it is imprinted like that. So the kinship relations are also which are present in the subconscious mind, and subconscious mind, how it is entering by underlying law. How it is becoming underlying law? Because of experience. In his book, The Elementary Structures of Kinship, 1949, other famous book, showed that many marriage rules can be understood on the basis of the principles of reciprocity and exchange, and thus can be reduced to variation of few basic marriage system. So he want to tell that every marriage rule is based upon exchange. How we are exchanging, what we are getting in return. So based upon this exchange, based upon this reciprocity, only the marriage rules will be there. Hence the marriage rules will be very, very limited. Endogamy within the group, exogamy outside the group. If within the group, endogamy, not outside the lineage, within the lineage or within the clan, within the moiety. So such sort of arrangements will be there. Yes. So showed that many marriage rules can be understood on the basis of the principles of reciprocity and exchange, and thus can be reduced to variation of the few basic marriage types. So that is about the marriage and kinship view on Levi-Strauss. Now what is the view of Levi-Strauss on totemism? Totemism means symbols. Totemism is symbols. For example, for Bishnoi community, their totem is black bug. Because the Salman Khan killed the black bug, they want to take him to the law of justice. So they went up to Supreme Court and asked for justice, and they got the justice. Why? Because their totem was black bug. They worship the black bug. They give highest importance to that particular totem. So in a way, when the totems are natural objects, when the totems are natural objects like trees or animals, we are indirectly protecting the environment. Levi-Strauss want to tell the same. Totem, in his book Totemism, book name itself Totemism, explained that animals, things and natural objects are chosen as symbols of clans or families in order to establish social behavior and social relationship between groups. Totemism also reveals the relationship between the nature, man and culture. So how Bishnoi people establish a relationship with black bug, and black bug is their religion, hence black bug is the culture religion, hence culture, man and nature interrelated. My totem is black bug. Black bug is a nature, whereas black bug is a animal, means nature. Man, I am what? I am Bishnoi, animal, culture. Totemism is the culture. So this relationship is totemism, whereby the symbols are called as totems. We will be respecting the symbols. We will be giving higher status to the symbols. The symbols are of clans. The symbols are of lineages. So when my symbol and your symbol are same, we both come together. Why? Because our both the totem means worship of symbol. Some people will be worshipping snakes. Yesterday there was a festival, snake festival happened in South India. So the snake is a totem. So when I worship snake, when you worship snake, obviously we will come together, as well as we also protect the snakes. So in a way, there is a protection of nature is happening. At this way, the people are also combining together, integrating together based upon their totems. Levi-Strauss on human mind, in his book Savage Mind 1962, the book name is called as Savage Mind, he tried to explain human mind as the structural aspects of unconscious thought. Also says that human mind has a logical mind of thought which is found in all societies, either primitive or civilized. Simple. So he want to tell that, see, either it may be primitive or civilized. Either it may be primitive or civilized, both will be having a thought process which is logical in nature. But the logical thought process of the civilized man is more, because he is forward. Primitive man will be also having the logical mind only. The primitive man will be also having logical mind. For example, when the rain is coming, he will not stand on the road. He will not stand on the ground. He will go under a tree. That is a logical mind. Every man, he will be using the umbrella, but he will be running inside a tree. So both will be avoiding the rain. Both avoiding rain means both are logical, having logical mind. But he is forward in time, so he is having umbrella. He is not forward, but he is escaping the rain by coming under any shelter. So by this he want to tell that either it may be a primitive man or civilized man. Every human mind will have a logical thought process, which is found in all societies, either primitive or civilized. He points out that each culture has its own systems, concepts and categories derived from the experiences. and imposed by the surrounding natural world. So everything, whatever is present in the mind is by the experience and which is fixed by the surrounding world. I told you now, he is bad from childhood onwards. Someone is telling that person is bad, some person is bad. So obviously he will think after growing up also that person is bad. Why? Because it entered into the subconscious mind. It takes lot of time to come out of that subconscious mind. So either by experience or by the natural surrounding world, that subconscious thought will be developed, hence his actions will be there, hence the structures will be like this. Social structure, according to Levi-Strauss, is the mirror image of cognitive structures. What we think, that structure will be there. If I had hatred towards my brother, then obviously my social structure will be conflict with my brother. So what is present in my cognition, what is present in my mind will be reflected in my social structure. If incest is there in the mind, then obviously there will be conflict within the family. So the family conflict will be there in the social structure. Why? Because it is imprinted in the mind. So cognitive, Levi-Strauss is very famous because he is the first person who discussed about study what is there in the minds of the people. Study what is there in the minds of the people. When you understand what is present in the minds of the people, then you will understand the structures. Then you will understand what is their behavior. And this structures in human mind is inherited in the form of science again. So how it is coming into my mind? So sir, yes. So whatever is our cognition, that is social structure. So how it is coming in my cognition? Inherited. Either by experience, either by natural surrounding, or else by what? Inherited. What my parents are telling to me, what my society people are thinking. For example, in my society, snake is a god. Snake is a totem. So my grandfather told, my father told, I am following. It will be inherited in the form of science. Like language. What is my mother language? It is inherited. Like language, rituals, dress, and so on. So what are the present in the minds? What is cognition? Is because of the experience, is because of natural surrounding world, as well as yes, inherited, which is given from the lineage, from the line. According to structuralism, mind operates as binary opposites. Mind operates like a binary opposites. Humans see things in terms of two forces that are opposite to each other. That is night and day. Binary opposites differ from society to society and are defined in a particular culture in a way that is logical to its members. Levi-Strauss claimed that binary opposites concept is universal. Binary opposite concept is universal. See what he want to tell that. So across the world, there is a binary concept is there. You go to any structure, if you go to any structure means any society here. If you go to any structure or society, you will see day, night, good, bad, positive, negative, male, female, good, bad. If you see in Indian society, traditional Indian society, the girl who is working in late nights, the girl who is having more friends in the form of boys, she is bad. If you go to America, the girl who is having more friends in the form of boys is good. It is her nature. So there the thought process will be different. Here the thought process will be different. In India, the girl who is sitting at home taking care of the kitchen is a good girl. In the same way in America, if any girl who is sitting at home is inefficient. So there the binary opposites will be different. Here the binary opposites will be different. That he want to tell. Levi-Strauss want to tell that every society have binary opposites, which are two. That binary opposites are present everywhere, but in societal variations will be there. For this society, binary opposite will be this one. For this society, the binary opposite will be this one. For this society, binary opposite will be this one. So binary opposites, everywhere it is present, but at individual societal level, at individual structure level, there will be variations. That binary opposites concept is given by Levi-Strauss. Levi-Strauss view on psychic unity. Psychic unity is a concept belongs to whom? Classical evolutionists. Levi-Strauss also believed that all the cultures of the society behaves in the same way. By saying so, he also indirectly advocated the concept of psychic unity of mankind. See, he also told that everywhere the behavior will be the same, but that behavior will be according to the experience, according to the inheritance, and according to the natural surrounding world, but the thought process will be same. That's why he didn't criticize classical evolutionism. He also believed in psychic unity of mankind. Why I am telling this? If you get any question about classical evolutionists, write about psychic unity of mankind. You can write about Levi-Strauss also. Levi-Strauss also believed on psychic unity of mankind. In that way you have to interrelate. Then criticism. So various variations, various versions of Levi-Strauss we discussed. Various versions of Levi-Strauss we discussed. All aspects of UPSC examination we covered. Then what is the criticism on Levi-Strauss? He doesn't give importance to a particular society for complex understanding. Such a particular society is highly important. That means he didn't did any field work to give his concept of structuralism. Everyone asked him, you gave the concept of structuralism, whether you have any evidence? आपने फील्ड वर्क किया है? Whether you did anywhere field work and you are giving this concept? No. So without evidence, how you can give the concept? Criticism. First criticism. He explained that human mind is static, invariant. No. Human mind is variant? No. Every time we will be thinking in different ways. Dynamism is there in human mind. The dynamism which is missing in the concept of structuralism. The dynamism of human mind is missing in structuralism. Levi-Strauss' postulation that marriage in every society can be looked upon as a system of exchange of women is questionable. Why you are talking that exchange of women? Marriage means exchange of women. There are some societies where men also been exchanged. There are some societies where the husband will come and stay with the wife. Nair Society of Tribe, Nair Tribal Society of Kerala, Kasis of Kerala, Kasis of Meghalaya, Garos of Meghalaya, whereas Nairs of Kerala. So that exchange of women in a single one-sided is criticized. He was criticized for not discussing on social change. So structuralism started losing its hold on anthropology, and some other approach came up for applied and action anthropology. So he was telling that the society will be like this, the structures will be like this, how it is present in the minds like that, the structures will be there. He didn't discuss about the social change. There will be chance of social change, but the social change aspect was totally absent in structuralism. So social change will be there. Why? Because change is the norm of the universe. But you didn't discuss about social change. That is the criticism. In spite of its criticism, structuralism contributed to the growth of anthropology by explaining the structural aspects of society, which is still significant for understanding various socio-economic purpose. But however, his concept of structuralism is very important. It gave us very new impetus with respect to understanding social and economic structures of the society. That is the conclusion of structuralism. Levi-Strauss. So next is Edmund Leach. The next person is Edmund Leach. What is his view? Edmund Leach view. Edmund Leach was a British social anthropologist, whereas Levi-Strauss is a French social anthropologist, who disliked synchronic functionalism and advocated diachronic functionalism. Means, so dynamism should be there. Diachronic functionalism, no synchronic functionalism. So he disliked synchronic functionalism. That means there will be social change will be there. So up to now what the Levi-Strauss was been discussing, the Levi-Strauss was discussing only about staticness. What is there in the minds of the people, in that way the behavior will be out. What is there in the underlying principle, in that way the behavior will be out. So this person will tell that synchronism will not be there, dichronism will be there. By saying so, this person who also told there is social change. So there is different forms of dynamisms will be there with respect to functions. So he advocated dichronic functionalism in place of synchronic functionalism. Dichronic means dynamic. He has dealt with change. He has dealt with change without abandoning the useful notion of structure and function. He gave the importance for structure, he gave the importance for functions. He also discussed about the change. But Levi-Strauss, who was being considered, who is synonymous with structuralism, he didn't bother about the social change. His secondary person in structuralism, he discussed about the social change. Hence he is called as dichronic functionalism, who also discussed about the change. Social structure for Edmund Leach is a mental construct. So, what is written in my mind, what is there in my mental construct, in that way my social structure will be there. My society is according to my mental structure. If I had respect towards my father, obviously according to my society, if it is imprinted in my mind that I have to respect my teacher, I have to respect my father, I have to respect my mother, then obviously I will be respecting them. So what is there in my mental construct, in the same way the social structure will be there. What is written in my mind, in the same way the social structure will be there. That he want to tell. Leach focused on how individuals work to achieve power and how their actions can transform society. So he want to tell that sometimes the people, in order to acquire power, they will be manipulating the rules. They will be manipulating the structures. They will be manipulating the desired behavior which they need to follow. They will be not following in order to acquire the power. And this structuralist, in order to prove this social change, in order to prove that how people will be manipulating in order to acquire the power, he did field work in Burma, now Myanmar. He visited Burma and he did field work in two tribal societies. One is Kachin society, other is Shan society. Edmund Leach, in his book Political Systems of Highland Burma, a study in Kachin social structure of 1954. In his book, he proposed a creative solution by considering conflict itself as a form of structure. For him, social structure is mental construct. So he told that what is happening, what he observed, so he did fieldwork, and what he observed, Edmund Leach, according to what is present in their mental construct, the people are not acting. The people are not behaving in the same way. People are not acting, people are not behaving in the same way. What is their values, how they have to act, they are not acting in the same way. Hence there is a conflict with the value. For example, you became an IAS officer, you should abide by the Constitution of India, you should not take any corruption. But in order to acquire money, you are taking the corruption. That means whether you are inconsistent with the value, whether you are in conflict with the value, whether there is conflict is happening within you. Yes, my values are this, but I want money. So, in order to acquire money, whether you are in conflict with the values, yes. So, this person also want to tell that he studied in this Kachin and Shan populations of Myanmar, they are having some values. But these values are in conflict with the value in order to elevate their power, in order to get the social status, in order to improve themselves, in order to get the power, they are in conflict with their values. How their value should be there, how their behavior should be there, in that way the value and the behavior is not there. So Edmund Leach, in his book Political Systems of Highland Burma, a study in Kachin social structure, 1954, in this book he proposed a creative solution by considering conflict itself as a form of structure. For him, social structure is a mental construct. So what he told, so this conflict in every society will be there. If you go to any society, there will be a mental structure. That mental structure will be values from the society. Every society will have some values. This you have to follow, this you have to do, this you have to do, this you have to do. Like a Brahmin should not eat non-veg according to his society. But when he is eating non-veg, 100% there will be conflict with this values. So this conflict not only in Brahmin society, in any society. In any society such conflict will be there. In any society such conflict will be there, and that conflict is also part of the structure. Everywhere there will be conflict with the values, everywhere there will be conflict with the mental structure, then that conflict itself is a part of structure. How I have to behave, how I am behaving. So how I am behaving is not according to how I behave. So when I am not behaving according to how I should behave, that means I am against I am inconsistent with my values. Inconsistent with my values means conflict. So that conflict itself is also part of structure according to Edmund Leach. So what he want to tell, we will discuss about that field work. Edmund Leach focused on how individuals work to achieve power and how their actions can transform the society. Now what happened to our society? You tell me. Whether corruption did not become institutionalized, whether the corruption became part and parcel of the society, why people are that much crazy about the government jobs, mainly the IAS, IPS, the UPSC examination posts, because high corruption is there. That means we are in the people and parents also, society also believe that if you are joining that, immediate what they will tell, yes, you will get lot of money, no? Why? Because in that way the structures of the society are being determined. It became part and parcel of the society. So everyone believes that every person will be working for his own vested interests. But my students, you have to prove it wrong. You have to prove it wrong. So here, so everywhere there will be some vested interest in order to achieve the power, in order to make the power, and how their actions can transfer. Society itself is transforming. What wrong? He is taking corruption, he is taking corruption, that person is taking corruption, what is wrong? Society itself is getting transformed. Edmund Leach told. He studied Kachin and Shan populations of Burma and presented that individuals are with inconsistency. Individuals are with inconsistency with the values by which they ordered their lives to gain power, to access the office and gaining the social esteem which would lead to increase in power. So, they are in inconsistency with the values, how their behavior should be. In that way, the behavior is not there. In that way, the behavior is not there. Why? Because they want to aggrandize their power. In order to reach their goals of making money, in order to get the power, they are inconsistent with the values. So from this, he wants to tell that everywhere there is conflict with the values. Why? Because Kachin and Shan society, these two societies are, Kachin is an egalitarian society and Shan is a hierarchical society. In both societies, both are divergent with their values. Both are inconsistent with the values. So he told that everywhere there will be inconsistent with the values in order to have the power. In his hand, functionalism became dynamic and diachronic. They consciously attempted to manipulate their myths and marriage choices in manner that would increase their status. He explained change not just by preconceived casual factors, but from the reality of Kachin and Shan life. So what he told, he just didn't explain that there will be inconsistent of values. You see the Kachin population, you see the Shan population, where there is egalitarian, where there is hierarchy, there only there is inconsistent with the values. So people will not stick to their social structure. People will not stick to their underlying laws. People will change according to their desires. And if their desire is power, then obviously they will manipulate their values. Not only that, they also manipulate their myths. They also manipulate their marriage rules, like that the marriage should happen. No, if my power is increasing, I will do another marriage. If you do this wrong, then this myth is there. No, I won't follow this myth. In any point of time, I need to get the power, our politicians. So in this way, he want to tell that in any structure, there is manipulation of values are happening. Hence, the underlying principles are changing. But you, Levi-Strauss, you didn't bother about the underlying principles which are changing. Hence, you didn't study about the social change. I studied about the social change. That is what the Edmund Leach want to tell. By focusing on power and how individuals get and use it, he showed the creative role of individuals in transforming the culture for their benefit. Now, how in India now corruption itself became a culture. Yes. How we misuse the government vehicles. Yes. Government vehicle में छोटे छोटे बच्चे स्कूल को जाते हैं. How you can send your child to the school which is illegal? It should be used only for the government purpose, but it is a privilege. So how they misuse and how they transform the society for their benefit, which is common in the society. You know what people will tell you? Last government, yes, he ate food, he ate corruption, but he did some work. We accept it. Why? Because it also became like a social structure that Edmund Leach told. So Edmund Leach want to tell that you Levi-Strauss, you didn't bother about the social change, but there is social change. That is a thin line of concept which is given by Edmund Leach. Not much. There is criticism for him. Edmund Leach mentioned that conflict itself is a constructive structure, but sometimes it leads to destruction. You are telling that inconsistent with values is present everywhere. So conflict is present everywhere. So conflict itself is a structure. Is every time is a good? Corruption is a good? Inconsistent with values is good? Being bribed is a good? No. So if you feel it like a constructive thing, it is a destruction to the society in the long run. Yes. The first criticism we understood that conflict itself is every time not constructive, sometimes it's destructive as well. And the second criticism is concept of synchronic functionalism and diachronic functionalism, which he mentioned. He could not prove what is synchronic functionalism, diachronic functionalism with a practical example, because of which his concept is been criticized. Without any proper example, how you can give the concepts like synchronic functionalism and diachronic functionalism is the second criticism of Edmund Leach. His concept of synchronic functionalism and diachronic functionalism are complex, which he could not explain with any particular societal example. Means with his field work he could not explain what is a synchronic functionalism and what is a diachronic functionalism. That is the second criticism on Edmund Leach functionalism. The third criticism is there is no separate idea which is given by Edmund Leach. You just developed the concept of human thought. You just developed the concept of human thought which is given by Levi-Strauss on the name of mental construct. There is no such new theory which is given by Edmund Leach. That is the three criticisms on Edmund Leach. By this we completed structuralism. I hope everyone understood this concept properly. We discussed what is structuralism, we discussed what is Levi-Strauss view on structuralism, what is Edmund Leach view on structuralism. For more such videos, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.